Good morning, everyone. In yesterday's session, first application using data JPA. First application development using data JPA. Okay. Now, so guys, what you understood after developing our first application by using data JPA? So, is there anything that is simple or it is difficult to develop the first application?
Very simple.
It is very simple.
Because we no need to write much business logic here. We no need to write the much business logic here. Data JPA provided predefined repositories to develop our persistence layer. Data JPA provided predefined repositories to develop our persistence layer. Got it? Now, Spring Data JPA provided predefined repository interfaces to develop persistence layer. Okay, what are those? First one is CRUD repository. Second one is
pagination and sorting
repository.
JPA repository. What is the difference between these two, guys?
So
What is the difference between these two now?
pagination and
Using CRUD repository, we can perform the CRUD operations. But
Using JPA repository, we can perform pagination and sorting.
pagination and CRUD.
Pagination and sorting. CRUD repository, it provided methods to perform only code operations. Here, we can perform code operations plus pagination
and sorting repository.
plus
Sorting operation.
Code operations plus pagination plus sorting that we
operations.
can do by using data JPA. Good. Now, to develop the application by using data JPA, we need to add one starter in form.xml to develop persistent layer using data JPA. To develop persistence layer using data JPA, Spring Boot provided below starter. Starter for us. What is that starter, guys?
Spring Boot starter JPA.
Starter data
JPA.
starter data JPA. This is the starter provided by Spring Boot. Along with this starter data JPA, we need to have driver dependency also to communicate with the particular database. Along with boot starter data JPA, we should have driver dependency also to connect with the database. Now, yesterday I have used Oracle driver to communicate with Oracle database. Suppose if you want to communicate with MySQL database, then we will add MySQL connector in the build path. You can communicate with PostgreSQL. You can communicate with SQL Server. You can communicate with H2 database like this. Right now. So here we need to have data JPA starter as well as driver dependency in the form.xml. Then only our application can use the data JPA to communicate with database. Right? Is this clear, guys?
Sir.
Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, fine. Yesterday we developed our application and we are able to communicate with the database also. Guys, if you see now, whenever we are developing this application, we create one entity class. Could you please tell me what is entity? Could you please tell me what is entity?
Class that is mapped
Connect with
database table.
database table.
Is the class that is mapped with the database table. Entity is a Java class that is mapped with database table. Entity is a Java class that is mapped with the database table. How we are mapping the class with the database table? By using annotations we are mapping. By using annotations we are mapping our Java class with the database table. By using annotations we are mapping our Java class with the database table. Is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Now, After that, we have created a repository. What is the purpose of the repository here?
To provide.
What is the purpose of the repository here?
To provide
What is
all.
the purpose of the repository here?
To provide all the.
To perform the CRUD operation.
To perform the code operations, it can be a
Persistence.
repository by extending CRUD repository interface. It is providing the methods to perform CRUD operations. Do I need to write any logic for that, or I no need to write any logic for that?
No need
No need to be write the logic.
No need to write any logic for that. Predefined methods will be provided for that. Now, if we have a interface, IOC can create the object for the interface, or IOC will not create the object for the interface.
Will not create, sir.
IOC will not create the
Create
object.
the object for the interface. Then how can we execute? Then how can we execute the persistence logic here?
Internally, it will create proxy.
Internally, it will create the internally it will create the proxy class. Internally, it will create the proxy
Proxy
class
class.
for that. Now, do I need to give repository annotation for this interface, or I no need to give repository
need.
annotation
No
for this
need to.
interface?
Optional.
No need to give the repository annotation for the interface. Why we need the repository annotation for the interface?
Special classes.
Why we no need to give the repository annotation for the interface?
It's internally
Already
load the
JPA repository have
Yeah, whenever the application started, by default, Spring Data JPA repositories will be scanned. By default, data JPA repositories will be scanned. Got it. Now, let me insert one more record into the table now. Let me insert one more record into the table now. Good. Fine. 1 or 2 is there. Okay. I'm passing 1 or 2 Ram some Sita @ashokit.in. Age, let me give us some 22. Okay, good. Now I'm trying to save the record. Here I will write system.out.println record saved. System.out.println record saved.
Record saved successfully.
Right. Now system.out.println. Okay. Record saved. Let me open the database. I want to show you in the database. Database is getting started.
Sir, in MySQL, we will create various databases, right? But in Oracle, XE will be the
XE is the default database. XE is the default database.
So in real time also, there will be only one database, right?
Yeah. Schemas will be different.
Okay.
Schemas
means tables, sir.
Schemas means not tables, kind of packages. Dev schema, QA schema, like that.
Okay.
Now all the schemas, all the tables will be available. All right. Now connecting to database, let's run our application. Now see the console. Application is getting started, guys. See the console. What is printing on the console? What is printing on the console?
Saved success, saved.
Yeah. So here, what is happening? Bootstrapping data JPA repository. So by default, is it loading the data JPA repositories in the application, or it is not loading them? It is loading them. So do I need to give at repository annotation, or I no need to give at repository annotation?
No need to give it.
No need to give.
I no need to give a
Not
repository
needed.
annotation. Even though I'm not giving it repository annotation, it is bootstrapping data JPA repositories. It is bootstrapping data JPA repositories. Now, finished data JPA repository scanning. Even though I am not giving a repository, is it scanning for the data JPA repositories or it is not scanning for the data JPA repositories?
No, scanning.
It is scanning for data repository.
How many repositories it found in our project now?
Only
How
one.
many repositories found in our project now?
Only one.
Found
Only one.
repository interface. It found only one JPA repository interface. Now, next one, Hikari pool. Hikari pool is getting started. Hikari pool is completed. Hibernate ORM is loaded. Hibernate common annotation using. JTA platform it is using. JPA entity manager factory it is using. And finally, the object got created for the proxy class. The proxy class is created in the runtime as a implementation for our JPA repository interface. Okay. Then when I call save method, the record got inserted in the database. After inserting the record, the connection pool got stopped. As I have closed IOC container, the connection pool got stopped. What is the default connection pool using in the Spring Data JPA?
Hikari pool. Hikari pool.
Hikari pool is the default connection pool that is using in the data JPA. It is using in the data JPA. Are you able to follow this?
Yes.
Are you able to follow this now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah. So if you look at the start class, some people may get a doubt. Ashok, this repository is an interface. How can you get the bean for the repository interface? Who will create the object for the interface?
Proxy.
Nobody will create the object for the interface in the Java. Here, actually what happening is for this interface, implementation class is creating in the runtime. That is a proxy class. The proxy class bean object we are getting whenever you call this get bean method. If you want the proof, then you can print the class name of that repository by using get class.getName. We can see proxy in the console. After that, I am storing the data into entity class that is mapped to the database table. Then I am calling repository.save. So save is a predefined method or save is a user defined method.
It's a predefined.
Predefined
Save
method.
is a predefined method which is used to insert the record into database table. Now record got stored. After that, I'm closing my IOC container. No problem. Go to the table, select the star from students underscore details. Select star from students underscore details. Okay, two records are inserted into the table. Now, can we insert one more record? Can we insert one more record?
Yes.
Now, execute. Record got saved. Look at this. Execute. So total 3 records are inserted into the table or not?
Yes.
By using save method. Now I want to update email ID of the person whose ID is 102. I want to update the email ID of the person of the student whose email ID, the ID whose ID is 102. I want to update the email ID. See here, ID 102 belongs to Sita. Sita@ashokit.in. Okay, now I want to update the mail ID. I want to update the email ID. Okay, now look at this. 102 is the ID, name is the Sita, and email ID I just want to update. Sita.b@ashokit.in. Some surname that I'm adding .b. Age is there. Okay, now I'm calling repository.save of ES only. I'm calling the save method. So earlier for insertion also I used save method. Now for updation also I am using the save method. Are you able to understand this? For insertion I have used save method. For updations also I am using the save method. Now see here what will happen. See here what is going to happen. Now execute.
It will get
F11.
updated.
It will get
F11.
updated.
application got terminated. Go to the database and see that. Mail ID updated or not?
Yes, updated.
Yes.
Now, so for inserting the record, we are calling save method. For updating the record also, we are calling the save method. Can I say this is a polymorphic method?
Yes.
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 Can I say it is a polymorphic method?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we
Sometimes
can
it
say.
is inserting the record, sometimes it is updating the record. Now we need to understand when it will insert that record, when it will update the record. For both operations, we are calling the same method. Sometimes it is inserting, sometimes it is
Not
updating.
updating.
When it will insert, when it will update. Can anybody guess it?
If
Like
The
if
first it
one
will check for the
primary
primary
is
key.
available,
If the primary key is
it will
present,
save.
then it will get updated. Otherwise, it will.
Create a new record.
For the given record, if whatever the primary key value I am setting, with this primary key, if already record available in the table, then it will update it. Otherwise, it will insert it. Now, if I pass 104, 104, is it going to insert or is it going to update?
It will
Insert.
check and it will
Insert.
It will
Insert.
insert.
In the
Insert.
table. Check in the table. Is there any record whose primary key is 104?
not present.
Not
No,
available.
not
And it
present.
will insert the new
There
record.
is no record whose primary key is 104. Okay. There is no record whose primary key is 104. Now execute. Now execute. Now go to the table and check it. Inserted or not?
Yes,
sir.
inserted. Sir.
Inserted.
Inserted.
Inserted. Okay. So save is a polymorphic method. Now, if you want to understand clearly whether is it inserting or updating, we can see that by printing queries on the console. Okay.
Yes.
I'm calling save method. That means in the background some query is executing or not.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In the background some query is executing or not.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, sir.
In the background
Yes.
some query is executing. Now I want to see that query with my eyes. I want to print that query on the console. For that, go to
Show
application
SQL.
properties file.
Show
Here,
hyphen
Show
SQL equal to
SQL, show
true.
hyphen SQL is equal to
Print
true.
dot data dot JPA.
JPA.
Print dot
Data dot show.
print dot
Spring dot
data dot
Sir, spring dot jpa dot
JPA dot show.
spring dot
Spring dot JPA
JPA dot
dot
show.
show.
hyphen SQL equal to true.
True.
This is one of the ORM property which is used to print query on the console. When I call any repository method, what operation is happening in the background? That query will be printed on the console. For that, we need to write one property in the dot properties file. That is spring dot JPA dot show SQL is equal to
True.
now. Let me go for 105. 105. Okay, now execute. I'm giving a ID with 105. I'm giving ID with 105. Look at the behavior of our application. Yeah. So first what he has done, is it executing one query or is it executing two queries?
Two queries.
Two queries it is executing. What are those two queries?
First
Select
it is checking.
What are those two queries?
First it is selecting.
First
and
one
then
is a select query. Why it is executing select query first?
checking for.
Record is
the
there.
existing
For the
primary
given
key is already
student
For whether the
ID,
primary key is present or
currently
not.
here, student ID is mapped to primary key column. Currently, student ID is mapped to primary key column. Student ID is mapped to primary key column. Okay. Whenever I call save method, with the primary key, it is trying to fetch the record from the table. So, for the given 105, is there any record available in the table or there is no record available in the table?
No record.
No
There is
record.
no record available in the
No
table.
records is available.
Immediately what the data JPA has done,
It
it
will
execute
come
insert
with
query or
Insert.
update query.
Insert query.
It will
Insert
insert
query.
query.
Execute the
Now, it execute insert. Now, I will execute same application once again. Okay. Is it going to insert one more record or it is not going to insert one more record?
It will insert.
It is
one
not
more
going to
record.
be insert.
It's going to
Insert the new
update.
Now
record.
I will run the same program again. Is it going to insert one more record in the table or it will not insert one more record in the table?
It will not insert one
It
more.
will not insert.
Not
one more
insert. It
record.
will update the existing record only, sir.
Yeah, check
No.
it, run it, run it. See the console.
Yeah,
See the console.
So if that key already there, not view.
Now, any query executed or any query is not executed?
No.
Not executed.
First, which one query only executed? One query only which is executed. What is that one query?
Select. Select
It has
query.
passed 105 as the ID for the select query. With the 105 ID, do we have a record in the table or we don't have a record in the table?
Coordinate
We
table.
have.
We have a record in the table. So is it
But
going to
105 is.
insert query not executed? Update query also not executed. Why update query not executed?
There is no change in
Exactly.
record.
There is no change in the entity object to data under the database table record. That's why it is not executed update query also. Now, let me set the age as 28. Let me set the age as 28. Now, tell me how many queries will
Update query executed.
Update query
Select.
executed.
Two queries will be executed.
How many queries will execute?
Select and
query.
update both.
Select and update.
Select and
Update.
update query.
Update query.
Both.
I will do one change. I will do one change. Now tell me how many queries will execute.
Now two queries.
Two queries. Select and
Query
insert.
only. Two query when we start.
Select query and insert query.
Insert
Why
query.
select query and insert query?
Because 106 is
First
not
it
there.
will retrieve
There
and
is
then
no
it will.
record in the
Primary key value
table.
here.
There is no record in the table whose ID is 106. So that's why it will execute select query and it is going to execute the insert query.
Insert
Now,
query.
if I make it as 105,
Select and update.
Update,
Will
update.
update
query
Select and
Select and
update only.
update.
select query and
update.
update query. Now execute it. Execute it. Select query got executed, update query got executed. Now go to the table. Now check it. 105 record is updated. Age from 27 updated to 28. So do you understand how save method will work now? Do I need to explain anything about the save method?
No.
Will it return any return type? Save method?
Yeah, that will come to the written part. Functionality.
Okay.
So save method, can I say it is a polymorphic method?
Yes.
Yeah, you all people came from core Java, right? What is polymorphism in the OOPS?
Overloading and
More than one form.
One name, multiple.
multiple operations.
Overloading,
also.
overriding, leave it, leave it. What is the actual definition of your polymorphism?
Sir,
Single action
after
can do
multiple
multiple tasks.
implementation, different implementation, then we can say the polymorphism, sir.
Sorry?
If
Same
any
name,
method has
different functions.
different
Method implementation.
implementation,
One
then
single method
which
can show different behaviors.
If
behavior
method
can
or if an object is doing is exhibiting multiple behaviors. If one person is doing multiple operations, that we can call as a polymorphic person. Now, I am one of the polymorphic person. So morning 6 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I will act as a trainer. I will act as a trainer. 2 to 10 o'clock, I will act as an employee to my office. Okay. So morning I am doing some operation. From afternoon onwards, I am doing some operation. Then I will be called as a polymorphic person. Okay. So person, I am the only one person, but I am doing two different works. So morning I am acting as a trainer. Afternoon I am working as an employee to a company. Okay. Now similarly here, one method, if it is exhibiting multiple behaviors, then it is called as a polymorphic method. If one method is exhibiting multiple behaviors, it is called as a polymorphic method. Now, can I say save method as a polymorphic method?
Yes.
Can I call save method is a polymorphic method?
Yes. Because
Yes.
it is
Yes,
updating
we
as
can.
well
It is
as
saving,
It
is
is
it
polymorphic
updating?
method because when I pass a ID, which is already available in the table, it is going to update that. When I pass the ID, which is not available in the table, it is going to insert that. Okay. So In order to insert the record or update the record, we are going to use save method only in the data JPA. There is no method with a name update in the data JPA. So if you want to do the insert operation or if you want to do the update operation, we need to go for save method only, which is provided by CRUD repository. Are you guys comfortable with this?
Yes, sir.
Good. Fine.
Hello, sir.
Now, yes, sir, tell me.
Hello. The save method also perform commit or not?
Sorry.
Save method also performs commit operation or not?
Save method also performs commit operation. Yes, it will do the commit. Then only you can see the record in the database, right?
Yes.
Then only you can see the record in the database, no? Otherwise, the record should not be there in the database. Right. Now, so with this, can I say all of you comfortable with the save method? Right. Now,
Yes, sir.
now the next question you people may have, sir, what is the return type of the save method? What is the return type of the save method? Now, look at this. What is the return type of the save method?
Object. Student.
Whatever the entity that is saved, same entity it is going to return as a return type. Now see here, saves a given save method documentation. Saves a given entity, use the returned instance for further operations, as the save operation might have changed the entity instance completely. Type of parameter, object. Parameter, entity that must not be null. Returns, the saved entity will never be null. Throws, illegal argument exception in case the given entity is null. So whatever the object that passing as a parameter for the save method, it should not be null. It should not be null. And save method is going to return the entity which is saved in the database. Save method is going to return the entity which is saved in the database. Whatever the operation that you want to do with the student data after the save, then recommended to use this student object, because this is the object to the data which is available in the database. Whatever the data that is there in the record in the table, same data will be available in this object. Saved entity will be returned back from the save method. Saved entity will be returned back from the save method. So whatever the object you are passing as a parameter for the save method, after saving the record, same object will be provided as a return value of that save method. Return value of a save method. Are you guys clear with this one?
Yes.
Are you guys clear with this one?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So duplicacy will be allowed in case or no? Maybe you understand?
Duplicate records will not be allowed, sir. Primary key means not null, not primary key means that column value should not be null, should not be unique. That is actually primary key constraint. The student ID is a primary key, right? Primary key means that column should not contain the duplicate values. That column should not contain the duplicate value. Okay, now, so you may get a doubt, sir, why it is returning the same object again? Currently, you don't understand the difference. So in future, we are going to talk about a concept called generators. At the time of generator, you will see what exactly happening in the student when it is returned by the save method. For time being, remember that save method is used to insert the record as well as to update the record. If the record is already presented with the primary key value, given primary key value, it will update, otherwise it will insert. Save method return type is the saved entity only. Good. Now, so with this, we are done with our save method discussion.
Sir, one programmatical question here. Let's imagine a scenario when someone wants to update his email ID from the application. A client is one. I do not have his ID, like what ID was used to save his record. In this case, now when you saved, you already had 105, but like around runtime, like we will not have the ID of person who
without having
email.
the ID, you can't update it, right? Simple. So if you go to 1 second, if you go to website, here I am having some courses, sir. Okay. Now, so here, can you see any course ID here
No.
in the UI? Can you see any course ID in the UI?
No.
You can't see the course ID in the UI.
Hmm.
But now I want to update this. I want to update a date for this. Okay. Now I want to update, suppose Spring Boot microservices is there. It is displaying 28th Jan. Now I want to display it as a 2nd Feb. I want to display as a 2nd Feb. If I want to update this particular record, that will have a primary key or not in the table. So
Yes.
without having that primary key, can I update that record date or I cannot update that record date?
Cannot update.
Cannot update. So is it displaying the ID to you in the front end, or is it not displaying the ID to you in the front end?
Not
Not
displaying.
displaying.
No, it's not displayed.
That will be available as a hidden variable, sir. That ID will be available as a hidden variable. Whenever you edit and click on the update, based on the primary key only, that record will be updated. So let me show you that. Let me show you 1 second.
So developer need to manage even ID.
Yeah, developer will manage that in the back end.
Okay.
Okay, I will show you that 1 second. Now, can you see my screen here? This is my admin dashboard where my courses will be updated. Okay. Now, here in the background, that operation will be available. Now, when I click on the edit, batch ID is displaying or not?
Yes, sir.
Batch ID is displaying or not?
Yes, sir.
Now, here instead of 28th Jan, let me keep it as 2nd Feb. 2nd Feb. Now, when I click on update, how they will understand for which record they need to update it based on the ID only. Based on the ID only. But for end user, is that ID is displaying, the ID is not displaying for the end user?
Not displaying.
Non
Now
displaying.
for end user ID is not displaying. Now you see the date is updated. Okay. So without having the primary key, we cannot update that record. Without having the primary key, we cannot update that record.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it. But sir, if in one of UI application, if UI developers are not maintaining the ID,
They have to
so-
maintain. If they don't maintain, we can't do that update, sir. Definitely, you have to maintain the IDs. Whenever you are providing edit option, definitely you have to maintain the primary key of that record. Otherwise, you can't do that.
Okay, sir.
Yep. As a developer, when you are providing a edit option for a particular record and update option, definitely you have to maintain primary key of that record. Otherwise, you can't do that.
Okay. But even if they're not maintaining, can we? I think we will have to do in this way that in first step, using email ID, first of all, we will have to fetch the ID, the latest ID, whichever is there in
Yes,
database.
you can do that. That also, if your unique email ID is unique in that, then you can follow that approach also.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good. Perfect. Now, sir, next one is the find by ID method. Save method is done. Next one is find by ID. What is the purpose of find by ID? Or else one more thing. Let's wait. Now we have done save method. Okay. Now let us see. Is there any other option available to save the record? Repository dot save. Now there is one more method with the save all. Okay. Save method is available. Save all method is available. Now, can you see the difference between save and save all?
Yeah.
Save is only one entity. Save all method.
Yeah, multiple entities.
Multiple
Save all.
entities.
If you have collection of entities, if you want to store all of them at a time, then you can go for save all method. So create 3 student objects, add those 3 students to an array list, pass the array list object as a parameter to save all, then 3 records will be inserted at a time. Okay. So if you want to save the record, one record, then go for save. If you want to save collection of records at a time, then you can go for save all method. Is this clear? Difference between save method and save all method?
Yes, sir.
Difference between save and save all method?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Save method is used to insert one record. Save all method is used to insert multiple records. Okay, good.
Could you please give me an example here on so that
You can do that, man. This is not a core Java class, right? Create the 3 student objects, create one array list, add the student objects to array list, pass the array list as a parameter to save all. That is very basic thing. You
Yes,
want
sir.
me to do that also?
Yesterday I did the same, but I got one exception. That's why
Sure. Can you share the screen and show me now?
I cannot share, sir.
Why?
I'm using my mobile.
So tomorrow join from laptop and show me that what is the exception so that I will tell you how to resolve it. Okay.
Ashok,
Yes.
when we are inserting multiple objects, storing. So if in case of any record is getting failed, so then what will happen?
Application will be terminated, right?
So
Exception
whatever,
if
let's suppose we are inserting 100 records, at the 58th record is getting failed. So what happens for the remaining 57?
They will, your application will be, if it is a standalone application, your application will be stopped. If you write that in the try catch block, then nothing will happen. Otherwise, the records, the remaining records will not be inserted.
So before 58, 57 records get will be stored into the database, is it?
Exactly.
Okay. Is there any option we can revert it back in case of any failure case?
Transactions we have to customize them.
Transaction management we can go with.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Commit and roll back like.
Yes. Good.
Do we cover that concept in this?
Yes, sir. Will be covered.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So with this we done. Save. Next we are going for find by ID method. What is the purpose of find by ID method?
So retrieve a record based
With the
on
given ID, it will find whether the record is available or not. If it is available, then it will fetch.
otherwise it will return null.
Good. Whenever you call find by ID method will take primary key as a parameter. It will try to retrieve the record from the table using the primary key. For the given primary key, with the given primary key, if there is a record, it will fetch the record. Otherwise, it will not, it cannot fetch that record. Now, if you see the return type of find by ID method, it is optional. So earlier, directly they used to return the entity object as a return type. Suppose with the primary key value, if there is no record available, it will return a null value. When you access the object, it will throw null pointer exception. So to avoid that problem, to avoid that null pointer exceptions, they made find by ID method return type as a optional object. It is not null, it is optional. With the given primary key, if the record is really available, that record will be stored into the optional object. Then whenever you call isPresent method, it will return true. If isPresent is true, then they will get that entity object by calling .get method. With the given primary key, suppose if I give the ID as a 120, there is no record available in the table. For that, optional object will be returned, but inside the optional is present, that will return false value. Then we don't get that object. Okay. Optional object contains that entity if the record is available. Otherwise, optional object will not contain the entity for that record. Okay. If isPresent is true, that means the record is available for the primary key, then you can call the get method. If optional isPresent is false, that means the record is not available for that entity. Are you able to follow this?
Yes.
Are you able to follow this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
What is
Now,
the benefit when we are using the optional?
It will avoid the null pointer exception, sir. Suppose if the optional is not available, directly if it returns an entity like this, okay, it may be null. If you perform some operation on this object, null value, null pointer exception. If you get the record, then no problem. If you don't get the record, then it is going to throw null pointer exception. To avoid that, they have given optional as a return type. It is from Java 8. Okay. Now let's run this application. I'm calling find by ID. If the record is available, it will print that record on the console. Is present, find by ID dot get. That record will be printed on the console. Okay. Suppose if we write else, system dot out dot println system.out.println record not available. Recording not available. Record not available. Now I'm giving 120. Okay, F11. Run the program. Run the program. It has executed a select query. It executed a select query, but is it printing the record or it is not printing the record? Not printing the record. Record not available. Message is printing. Record not available. Message is printing. Suppose if I pass 103 as a ID, if I pass 103 as a ID and run it, Now see here, what happened? Select query got executed. Now, are we able to get the data or we are not able to get the data?
We're able to get
We are able to get the data in the form
We
of
are able
object.
to get
We are able to get the data from the object. Now, tell me, what is the purpose of find by ID method?
Find by ID method will
to retrieve that data
To retrieve the
To
data.
avoid null pointer exception.
and avoid through
Null
avoid.
pointer exception. Find by ID method is used to retrieve the record based on the primary key. For the given primary key, if the record is available, it will get that record. Otherwise, it will return the empty optional object. So how to check my optional object contains the entity object or not? Is present method. If is present is true, that means record is available. If is present is false, the record is not available. Okay, good. Now, one record we are able to get based on the primary key. Perfect. Now, I want to retrieve all the records from the table, guys.
find all.
I want to get all the records available in the table. Student repository dot find all. Student repository dot find all method. The return type of this method is iterable object. Iterable is a super interface for the collection interface. Iterable is a super interface for the collection interface. Now I got iterable object. So what this iterable object will represent? All the records available in the table. Find all method, which is used to retrieve all the records available in the table. Yes, I have a question. Am I writing any logic in the repository to perform these operations?
No.
No.
No, not right.
Now, who is providing this logic for us?
Data.
Data JP.
Data
Data
JP. If you go for Hibernate, do you need to write the connection, session factory, session and all, or
Yes,
you don't need to write it?
Yes,
we
yes,
need to
yes,
Yes, we need to write manually.
Manually, we need to write it. Now, can I say the development simplified or not?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
simplified.
Development is simplified. We are not
Simplified.
doing anything.
Simplified as compared to
Guys,
Yeah.
if you observe really, we are not doing anything. Just we are calling the methods. That's it. We are not opening a connection. We are not closing the connection. We are not opening the session factory. We are not opening the session. Nothing we are doing. Just we are calling the method that is performing the operation. That is the beauty of the data JPA. Okay, it is very simple to develop persistence layer by using data JPA. Can I say I am writing 0 lines of code to perform the card operations?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Am I writing any lines of code here? I am just creating one interface.
We are just creating one interface and extending it from the
That's it.
We are just create one interface, nothing else. The remaining operations are happening here. Okay, good. Find all method, I got it. What is the purpose of a find all?
It will
Find
get
all.
all the
purpose
records.
of
It will
find
get
all?
all the records from the database.
To fetch all the records from the table.
It is used to fetch all the records from the table. It is used to fetch all the records from the table. Now, system.out.println of student. Okay. Find all method is giving records. Okay. Then I'm calling for each method. I'm printing the record one by one. So for each method I'm using to print the records on the console. Now observe. Go to the console. So are we able to get all the 105 up from 101 to 105 all the records?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
See here. One select query is executed, which is equal to select start from table. All the records it retrieved and it is printing on the console. For that we use find all. Now tell me, What is the difference between find by ID and find all?
Find by
Find
ID.
Find by ID used for one record
by
only.
ID will get only
One
one
ID,
record by
record.
primary
checking
key.
whether
Find
it is
another.
present or not, and find by all will get all the records which
All the records
are
from the
present in the database.
Find by ID to retrieve only one record available in the table. Find all used to retrieve all the records available in the table. Is this clear, guys?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Now, guys, see here, I have a requirement of retrieving the records for multiple students based on the primary keys. I want to retrieve the records of 102, 103, 104 ID students. Not everyone, not one, not everyone. I want to retrieve few students. I know their primary keys. I want to retrieve 102, 103, 104 ID records. Did you understand my requirement?
Yes, sir.
Find all by ID
Yes, sir.
method.
Find all by ID we can use.
Find all by ID, exactly. Yes. So here, if you go for find by ID, that will retrieve one record based on the primary key. If you call find all method, it will retrieve all the records available in the table. Okay. Now here my requirement is different. Student repository dot find all by ID. Find all by ID. What does it mean? What does it mean?
We need to pass the IDs here so that it will fetch.
What does it mean?
It will return all.
It will return
all the
it will
records.
fetch according to the
We are
IDs
passing
we are
some array
passing.
values, array ID, and
Arrays dot as list. What does it mean? What does it mean?
we need specific records.
Yes, create IDs.
Yes.
IDs I am passing. I need to pass a list. I need to pass a list here. How to convert the values to a list? Arrays dot as list. Now I got find all by ID. For that also I will do the same operation. I will iterate that by using for each method. I will iterate that by using for each method. Find all by ID dot for each. Find all by ID dot for each. Okay. Find all by ID dot for each. Now I am able to compile this program. Let me run it. Let me run it. Run it as boot application. Run it as boot application. Yeah. Now can you see only 102, 103, 104 records are coming?
Yes, sir.
Can you see only 102, 103 and 104 records are coming? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So in order to retrieve the records total, there are three methods available. One is find by ID. Second one is find all. Third one is find all by ID. Now, do you know the difference between all these three methods now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the difference between all the three methods now? Find by ID, find all by ID. So can anyone explain what is the difference between all these three methods now?
Yes, sir.
Sir, find by ID will fetch
Find
the
by
record
ID.
Based on the primary key. In find
On the primary.
It will return based on primary.
based on the primary key.
all the records from the table.
And find all will
Find by
fetch
all
all
it
the
returns
records
all
present in the
All
database.
the record that comes in the database table.
And find all by ID is used to fetch the data by using IDs, like multiple data, specific multiple data.
Sir, find by
Yes.
ID,
If you want
find by ID simply resolve null pointer exception. Sir.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Sir,
Yes.
this
Line number 37. Find all in find all method. How it is recognized that for which table it will fetch all data?
Yes, sir. It is. We are calling that by using repository method. Na? I'm using repository method. Student repository. Student repository already have the entity. The entity already mapped with a table. That is the link. Okay. Now, how I am calling find all by ID here? By using student repository or not?
Yeah.
What is student repository here? It is a variable. This variable belongs to this
repository class.
student
Student
repository.
repository interface.
If you go to student repository, does it have any mapping with the entity class
Yes,
here?
yes, student.
Student. If it goes to student, does it have a
It is
mapping
mapped
with
with
the
the
table?
database. Yes.
Like that, it will identify from which table it has to retrieve the record.
Sir, how you are getting the return type automatically? Like
There is a shortcut, sir. Control 1 is the shortcut.
Control 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
Control
sir.
1
Thank you.
enter.
Sir, when we doing multi-line comment, no, then all lines will come in one or two lines. How to decide that?
Sorry?
Sir, when we doing multi-line comments, no, if 4 or 5 lines are there, then all merging in one or two lines.
I did not get you.
Sir, he is saying how to enable multi-line comments.
No, he's saying
Setting. You go
multiple
in a
line.
setting. You go in a setting. There is a command, so you set there. It
Control
executed
shift
like that.
slash for multiple line.
So that is simply control shift forward slash backward slash.
Forward slash forward.
Yeah, no.
About the comments
For
or
commenting, na.
whenever he is going to comment, all committed code in coming in a same line, or it is coming in a one line or two line. He is saying like that.
Yeah, correct.
So format is going means we can say that is destroy and all. So he's asking about the it should be in a formatted way whenever he is going to the comment.
Simply he wants to comment multiple lines, na.
Control Shift C.
No, the real
Hello, sir.
point.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, could you please give me 1 minute to understanding about the database connectivity and application connectivity?
Database connectivity, application connectivity.
I mean,
we'll talk
how
about
database
that.
is connected to this application?
That will be taken care by data JPA. Spring Boot will take care of that with the help of data JPA. Now I will come to that part, sir. Now, whenever our application is started, Boot will load this application properties, data source properties. It will create a data source object. Okay. Whenever these properties are loaded, Spring Boot internally uses some predefined classes to communicate with the database by using JDBC API. So do you have knowledge on JDBC API?
Yes,
hello, sir.
Yes, connection, prepare statement on all this.
Driver
Driver
get
management,
connection.
driver class.
Internally data JPA will use the same concept to establish that connection. Okay. All right. So as of now, what are the methods we have seen? Save method, save all method, find by ID method,
Find by ID,
find all, and find all by
ID.
Do I have any method?
Find all by ID.
Do I have any method to update a record, or I don't have any method to update a record?
We don't have.
Don't have any method.
It
Don't have any
will
method to
use
update a
save
record.
method only.
We will use save
Based
method
on the
only.
primary key.
Yeah, we will use save method only to update a record. Now, I want to delete a record whose ID is 105. Okay, I want to delete a record whose ID is 105. I just want to delete one record from the database table, guys, whose ID is 105. Okay. So
Delete
for
by
that, check the methods.
Delete by ID.
Delete
Student repository. Student repository dot
delete by ID.
Delete by ID.
Check it. How many methods are there?
Total 4. Only one methods are there for data delete by ID.
How many methods are available for delete operation?
Four
methods.
Delete.
Four methods.
Delete all.
Delete all.
Delete all
Delete all overloaded. Delete all. Delete by ID.
by ID.
Okay. Can I say delete all is a overloaded method?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is the difference between those two? You can observe and you can tell me.
In one
Delete
method, we
all,
can
it's
pass
not-
the
no
collection
It is
object.
not taking any parameter. And
Delete
one
all method
is
will
the
delete
overloaded
all
method. It is taking one parameter, that is entities.
delete all method will delete all the records. Delete all with the parameter will delete all the records
Based on
which
the
we pass as a parameter.
Okay.
Multiple
If
ID.
you want to delete more than one record, then you will go for third method. If you want to delete all the records from the table, then you will go for delete all.
Second method.
If you want to delete one record based on a primary key, delete by ID. Okay, ID is nothing but primary key. Delete by ID. You will pass the primary key value, it will delete the record. If you pass the entity object also as a parameter, then also it is going to delete that record. Now I will go for delete by ID, which is 105. Which is 105. Now run the application, guys. Run the before running the application, let me show you the records available in the table. Select star from student details. Okay. We are able to retrieve the data from the SQL developer. Total there are 5 records are available. Now I am calling delete by ID method with 105 as a parameter. Run this application. Now, first it executed a select query. Why it executed a select query?
Checking
whether that ID is
the record
present or
already exists or no.
Whether to execute the delete query or not, it is deciding. First, it is trying to fetch the record with the given primary key. With the given primary key, if the record is available, then it is going to execute delete query to delete the record. Suppose I am passing ID as 125. Do I have a record with that, or I don't have a record with that?
We don't have.
We don't have a record.
We don't have a record with that ID. Now, check how many queries will execute now?
Only one query.
Only one select query.
What is that query?
Select query.
Select query.
Execute it. What happened? Select query executed, empty result data access, that is returning an except, that is throwing an exception also. Entity with ID 125, no class entity with ID 125 exists. So boss, you are asking me to delete a record with the primary key, but I don't find a record with that ID. I am unable to delete that record. That is happening when you call delete method. So with this, all of you comfortable with code operations by using data JPA?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All of you comfortable with performing code operations by using data JPA?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what are the methods that we have seen?
Save, save all, delete,
Save,
all,
save all,
Save all.
find by ID, find all by ID,
Find all by
all
delete.
methods to perform code operations.
So this exception we can't handle.
Try catch block we need to write. Methods to perform code operations. Methods to perform code operations. Okay.
Find by ID we have.
Save method we used. For that we are passing entity object as a parameter. Okay. Entity object we are passing as a parameter for the save method. Save all method is taking iterable object. Save all method is taking iterable object of entity. Entities more than one object. Okay. Find by ID, it is taking serializable ID as a parameter. Find all to retrieve all the records from the table. Find all by ID. Find all by ID. It is also taking iterable of IDs. Iterable of IDs it is taking. Delete all. What is the purpose of delete all? To delete all the records. Delete by ID to delete one record based on the primary key. Serializable ID object. Delete all of iterable of serializable IDs. Serializable of IDs. Okay. Good. Yes. Are you guys comfortable with all these methods?
Yes, sir.
Good. Fine, guys. Please practice.
Sir, actually, I have a doubt. I was facing a problem.
I will take up your doubts, sir. 1 second. All of you, please practice all these methods before coming to next session. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to start with data JPA second repository, that is JPA repository. So today we have used CRUD repository to perform the operations. Same methods as it is we are going to use in the JPA repository also. Some other new methods will be available in the JPA repository. Those we are going to discuss in the tomorrow's session. Please, I request all of you to practice these methods before coming to next session. Some people are asking, please share the workspace. Simple thing, guys. I am not doing any rocket science implementation here. I am just calling the predefined methods. I hope you can also do that. Don't expect that sir will share the workspace. We can copy paste the example. I don't like that copy paste. You joined in the course to learn the programming, not to copy paste. You try it. If you are not able to implement, no problem. Tomorrow, you tell me in the classrooms, Ashok, I'm facing this problem. Could you please help me? I will give you permission to share your screen. I will see what is the problem. That is how you have to learn the programming. Don't expect faculty will share the example, who will import that project, who will run that. The program which is running in my system definitely will run in your system also, because this is Java, it is platform independent. You no need to test whether Java is platform independent or not. You have to write the program on your own. If you get the problem, you should be in a position to solve the problem. Then only you will be called as a programmer. If you are not able to solve the problem, I am here to help you solving that problem. Okay, don't send me silly messages. Please upload the workspace. Please upload the workspace. I want everybody should write the programming, and I want everybody to become an independent developer. Don't dependent on someone. You already listened to the class. Every line of code I am writing in front of you. I am not like other trainers to execute the programs which are already implemented. Each and every line of code I am writing in front of you. So you should be able to understand clearly, and you should be able to develop it on your own. That is the intention of this batch. Okay, all of you agree for that?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir, I have a problem with database connectivity.
Okay, fine. So
Sir,
whatever the people who are facing problem with the database connectivities, tomorrow I'm going to take your screen and I'm going to help you to solve that problem.
Sir, actually, I
Any other
had some.
questions you have?
Sir, I have different problem that Lombok is not working actually. When
Yeah, if Lombok is not working, leave it, sir. Write the setters getters manually. That is not a showstopper for you.
Okay.
सर Oracle database install करने के लिए हमको मतलब only SQL developer अगर अकेला install करते हैं तो काम हो जाएगा सर?
नहीं सर, SQL developer only client software है ना, उसके लिए सर्वर चाहिए. SQL Oracle install भी करना पड़ेगा. Then only SQL developer you can use it to connect to the database.
I got the issue connecting with database.
SQL developer is UI only, like that.
Sorry, SQL developer is only UI. That's it.
सर Oracle अगर अकेला इंस्टॉल करते हैं तो उसमें भी तो थोड़ा बहुत UI और कमांड लाइन वगैरह तो फिर
by command line you
कमांड लाइन मिल जाएगा आपको. बहुत डिफिकल्ट है इसमें कोरिस लिखना, डेटा चेक करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा, इसलिए SQL डेवलपर यूज करते हैं.
Sir, both are compulsory, sir. SQL command line and
No, not compulsory. SQL developer is providing a user interface for you to write the queries easily.
yes, sir. But I have one facing issue, sir.
Yeah, tomorrow I will take all your screens, sir. Tomorrow first I will solve all your problems, then I will start the class.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell me, sir.
Will you please share the Angular 11 class recordings?
Sir, recordings I will share it. Today you can attend the session. As I told you, in our website, you can find the Zoom details here. Zoom details are available here. You can attend the session. I will check with the trainer today, and by tomorrow I will tell you how to access the recordings. You no need to force him to add to the Telegram group. I will tell you how to add, how you can get added to the Telegram group. I will take care of those details in 1 or 2 days of time. Meanwhile, you can attend the session by using this Zoom details.
Okay, sir.
Are we going to cover connection pool?
Yes, sir. Connection pool also I will explain.
Sir, I didn't get previous class videos. Yesterday also I informed.
For which batch?
This batch only, sir. Actually,
Your name?
I signed. My name is Sri Lakshmi.
Sri Lakshmi. Could you please send a mail?
Yeah, morning also I send you my mail ID in WhatsApp.
Could you please send again? Actually, yesterday I replied. I sent a message to all the people who enrolled for this batch with all the recordings.
Yeah, but I didn't get, sir.
Sure. Could you please send a mail to that mail ID payments team so that they will add to the list again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sir, I was getting an exception, a bin creation exception.
That means your package naming convention not be correct. Check it once. Base package naming conventions.
Sir, which Oracle version is suitable for this?
Any version. I'm using 10G. You can use any version, no problem.
And
So,
SQL exception also, sir. Root @localhost. I don't know how to connect MySQL with Spring Boot. I was new. I was new for MySQL. That's what.
No problem, sir. No problem. Tomorrow I will tell you how to solve those problems. Tomorrow I will clarify all your doubts. Then we'll go for the concept. Okay.
It's saying that could not obtain connection to query metadata.
That means your database is not installed properly.
Okay.
Yes.
Any
other questions, anyone?
If you don't mind, can you see one, sir?
Hello, sir.
Sir, I have another class, sir. It's already late for me. I need to start another class actually. Yeah, I need to have my breakfast and I need to take another class. That's why I'm taking that. Tomorrow I will solve all your problems.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right? Yeah. Good, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow. The people who are able to establish the connection with the database, please practice these methods before coming to tomorrow's session. So tomorrow, some people who are facing the problems, please join from your laptops. I will try to solve your problem in the tomorrow session.